Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Bridget and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a story time. Today's video is not going to be what I wanted to film today, but it's been requested kind of, so I'm going to talk about it. Today we're going to talk about why I am how I am. It's just cherries, everything is cherries on top. Alright guys, so I recently did a Q&A with Daniel and we were asked a lot of questions about why I don't have any association with my family and things like that. And I feel like a lot of you are new, so you wouldn't know. The only time I really talked in depth about this was in a video about my Spice Girl doll that I got. So it didn't really seem like it was going to be, I didn't title it anything like why I don't talk to my family or anything like that, so you probably didn't click on it and find out. Alright, I don't know where to start this out. I've lived in North Carolina all my life. I think everybody knows that. I love my state very much, but there is a lot of things about it that I don't like. Also, like, I want to branch out and get somewhere else because I need, like, some new experiences in my life. I feel like I've been around the same type of people a lot during my life, and maybe that's why I was drawn to Daniel, because he's nothing like anything I've ever met in my life. So I was born in Kinston, North Carolina. It's a very rural area. They have King's Barbecue and Hush Puppies there. It's so good. And after that, we moved a couple other places, and we eventually ended up in Tyner, which Tyner is a very rural area. I think there's not even like a stoplight in the town. It's just like one of those blinking ones at a crossways by a school. There's not even a gas station in Tyner. You have to go to Belvedere, North Carolina to get gas. So I grew up in a little farm town, right? Normal. I don't know where to go with the story. My very, very, very early childhood in Kinston and stuff was fine. My dad was deployed when I was born, and yada, yada, yada. He was a police officer, and then eventually he got a job in Edenton, North Carolina, so we lived in Tyner. I was okay growing up, I think. I think everything was normal to me until I was around a teenager. Oh, God. Then I kind of decided I kind of knew that I was not where I was supposed to be. I think everybody as a teenager gets angsty and doesn't like their environment. They get all angry. I was definitely that person. I was definitely the one who was just like, I only listened to My Chemical Romance. Like, I was that girl, but there's a lot of things as a kid that I was not allowed to do, or it just didn't make it very normal. For example, very angsty teenager, you want to be able to express yourself. I wasn't allowed to wear the color of black. I knew one year when I was a junior in high school, I got to wear black lipstick for an hour for a haunted house I was doing at school, and that was the coolest thing ever to me. I wasn't allowed to paint my nails black, wear black clothing. I could wear gray. I couldn't do a lot of things that I wanted to express myself with. I always had platinum blonde, bleach blonde hair. Once or twice I dyed my hair brown, tried to be normal. It didn't work out. I always just went back platinum blonde because it made me stand out in some way from the normal rural, no one dyes their hair kind of area that I was in. There were a few people in my school who listened to the same music as me. I kind of gravitated towards them the most, but I never really felt like I fit in with anyone. I never felt like I had any... Oh. I'm gonna keep doing that during this video. I can feel it. I'm just gonna be like, oh. I never felt like I had anybody I was actually close to. I had friends. I had friends that I really liked, but I never felt like the connection you see on TV with someone where, like, oh, they get me. That's the yin to my yang, or like the Scooby to my Shaggy or whatever. I never felt like I had that with anyone. For several reasons. Like, I couldn't do the normal kid things, go to parties, go to hang out with a friend after school or anything. If there's a bunch of weird jump cuts in this video, it's because I cut out me getting emotional. So I'm going to apologize for that. Also, I want to apologize for my hair being like crap. I need to dye it again. So I just threw it together today. Yeah, I never felt like I had a connection with anybody. I was very isolated. I think I went to one birthday party in middle school for 2 hours, and then my dad was waiting for me to get out. So I didn't go to prom for like the whole time. I went to prom for like 2 hours. Like the time prom opened to like whenever all the cool kids were arriving, because you know all the cool kids arrived late to prom. That's the time period I went. I didn't go to senior prom. I graduated high school early to go to work. I worked in Virginia Beach at Paramount Builders, and I worked with my dad. So I don't know. I thought my childhood was normal. I thought being a teenager was normal. And then I didn't. I kind of always, especially when I started working, I knew something was off about my life. Because I worked in a city and people have completely different opinions, and they can kind of be themselves more. They can kind of express themselves. You would see people in Virginia Beach walk around with colored hair. You would see them with tattoos and stuff. I was always the person who was so sheltered that my TV was blocked from PG-13 until I was 19, because I figured out the password eventually. I was the kid who couldn't, I couldn't absorb anything outside of what I was allowed to. Certain channels on my TV were blocked as a kid. I couldn't watch anything over the 13-year-old age range. I was very lucky that eventually Ripley's Believe It or Not came on and was a weird show I could watch that wasn't blocked. I couldn't watch a lot of things that people like really resonate with their childhood. So a lot of times when people ask me, oh yeah, I love that movie, or like it's a classic, I haven't seen it. The only movies that I've seen that are classics are before 1962. So 1930 to 1962, about when I was 17, that's all I watched, because I didn't really get anything that was nowadays. So I just watched old movies, which was great. I knew that my parents didn't like me. I knew they love you, right? Sure. But I never felt like they got me. So I did a lot to try to fit in with them. I really thought I was gonna get through this video without ruining my makeup. That didn't work out. So as a kid, you really want someone to relate to. And for me, I didn't have that. My parents didn't get me. They weren't really supportive of anything that I wanted to do on my own. I had friends, a couple, but I always felt kind of isolated because they always had each other more than they had me around. Because, like, I'm weird. I get it. I struggled with a lot. But I struggled internally. I kept telling myself, you know, your life's not that bad. You're okay. You're making it. But by the time I was like 16, I didn't really feel that way anymore. So I would do anything, since we only hang at my house. We didn't really associate too much with family outside of in our household. So like me, my sister, my mom and dad. We would go see outside family for Christmas, maybe Thanksgiving, and that was it. So we really just stayed to ourselves, and I thought that was normal. Thought that was kind of cool, like you know, you don't need nobody. But I found myself really needing their approval. I found myself really needing to try to do anything I could to fit in with my parents. They were very Southern. I always repressed having a Southern accent. Yes, I used to have a stronger Southern accent. But I repressed it. I never wanted the same Southern accent as them. I never wanted that heavy drawl. I never wanted to talk like this. I never wanted to be like this all the time like everybody else. And I think they found that very irritating. They were very proud of their Southern accent. They were very proud of sounding extremely Southern. They were very proud of living with fields in the back of the house. And I wanted more, I think. But I always tried to make them approve of me. So they were very political. I tried to be, I shared the same stuff with them. Maybe they would find some of it interesting and like me for it. I don't know. I think you just really want approval from someone Whether it's your best friend, whether it's your parents, whether it's someone else you know you're close to, whether it's a different family member, like a cousin or a sister or something, you want someone to be close to. I didn't have that. But I tried hard to. I think eventually you just want like a pat on the... I think eventually you just want to be connected and feel loved by someone. And I'm sorry that there's gonna be so much jitteriness in this video, but I don't want to be the girl who blubbers and cries on camera. I am emotional. I understand some people are gonna like totally ridicule me for it. But at least I'm not going full Trisha. Also, I really like Trisha. I think she's adorable. So I did anything I could to try to relate to them. Meanwhile, trying to do my own thing on the side. So I had like a Tumblr page dedicated to Marilyn Monroe. I decorated my walls in my room completely Marilyn and Marlon Brando and Humphrey Bogart. And I think because those people were rebels of their day, but they were still very like clean-cut conservative to a degree. Like Marilyn, very sexy, very outrageous for her time, but nowadays very tame. Marlon, very rugged, very bold, very him. Humphrey Bogart, first like, I guess, bad guy in some movies that you wanted to be friends with. Someone who was like older when he broke into the movie scene and had such a distinct face, voice, attitude, and he seemed so cool. And those are the kind of people that I really related to. So, yeah. There's that. But in real life, I didn't have anybody. I felt very depressed. I'm sorry I'm not making eye contact with this camera too. I'm sorry. I felt very depressed. I felt very isolated. I depended a lot on trying to throw a lot of attention into one thing. So at one point it was Adam Lambert. Total. Yes. And then for a while it was just the classic movies and classic Hollywood. And I still love classic movies to this day. Casablanca's my favorite movie. I have Marilyn gravesite tattooed on me. I have classic stars tattooed on my back. Their signatures. I have a Splendor in the Grass tattoo. I still very much love those things. And those are things that I wanted to relate to. But no one else wanted to do it with me. No one else got it. Everyone else was like, oh, that old again. And, yeah. That was my little rebellion, I guess. Anyways, moving on from me being depressed and suicidal, there was a gun cabinet outside of my, bedroom growing up. Full of so many weapons, because my dad was in the military and then he was a police officer and guns were just his thing. It's what he did. He would go on the boat, shoot guns off. He would just, one Christmas they took a washing machine and shot it up in the backyard. Like, that's the kind of place I lived at. You get the idea of what I'm saying, but I felt very suicidal. Being alone, trying to find your own little niche outlet, and then people ridiculing you for it because you're not doing exactly like them, even though you've done everything to try to be like them and try to get their approval and attention. It kind of sucks. I think no matter what I did, literally, I was an angel child. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I was. I got detention one time. That was it. My entire life. I never got suspended. I never got in a fight. I never got, like, in trouble at school. I never did anything with the law. I never shoplifted. I never did anything like that. I was always... when my teachers yelled at the class, they would say, except for you, Bridgette, to me. I was just a really good kid because I was trying to get approval from somebody, and I don't know, I was very suicidal as a teenager. And then I told my parents. They found out the word emo one day, and they loved to use it on me. Now, looking back at it, yes, I was the emo kid who wasn't allowed to wear black. I understand that. I very much am not offended by that when people said, oh, you were such an emo kid. I don't care. I was the emo kid who was wearing gray. The platinum blonde one. They use that word against me so much. And then one day, I was like, you know what? Sure I am. And I'm very depressed. And they would say, ugh, you're always seeking some kind of attention. You're not depressed. You don't even know what depressed is. What do you have to worry about? I hate that. I hate that so much. What do you have to worry about? I don't know. My life not working out the way I hoped it would. Not being loved by anybody. I don't know. Doing anything I can to get your approval, try to be like you, and it doesn't work. Okay. So, when I was a teenager, I dated a few guys. Obviously, none of it worked out. I either got, cheated on, or lied to, or ignored. Or, one time I dated a guy, and he came to my door asking for me back after he broke up with me one time. I told him I couldn't do it, and he got married 2 months later. 2 or 3 months later, he got married to someone after he was just at my house asking for me back. That guy was an I dated one guy. He was very nice. We broke up many a times. He cheated on me. He lied to me. I would ask him sometimes at night just to call me and talk to me because I didn't have anything else. He wouldn't do it. It was very, very, very hard. He did get involved in the military. We were fine during that time while he was gone. I waited for him, blah, blah, blah. I wrote him like 3 letters a day. He's the reason I have carpal tunnel. I would write so many letters a day to him, while he was gone, just for having something to relate to and stuff, that now I have permanent damage in this hand. When I was like graduating high school and stuff, I didn't know what it was from, but now later on, I know it was from writing those letters. Even if I like clench my fist while I'm sleeping at night, I'll wake up major pain in between here. I can't hold things for long periods of time with my left hand, even though I was handed. It's done a lot of damage to that hand. Even like when I'm cooking food and stuff, I can't hold pans with this hand. It's just a major pain. But that's a whole different story time. Anyways, the guys I dated weren't great. I mean, I forgive them. I think they're fine now. But at the time, I was so mad at everything they did to me. After high school, I went to work. Like I said, I went to work at Virginia Beach. I noticed everybody was different. There wasn't like a field in every yard. There wasn't like tractors blocking the streets. It was a different environment for me, and I learned a lot during that time. I definitely started to try to express myself more. I started trying out makeup. I really wanted to get into special effects makeup. I loved the show Face Off. I still love the show Face Off. I really wanted to get into special effects makeup, making monsters, making things that were not in the everyday. That's kind of just what I wanted to do. I started to get into beauty makeup after I left my Virginia Beach job, and I started working at Office Max. I started getting more into makeup. I would spend like 2 hours on my face trying to because I like the transformation. I think that's really why I wanted to do special effects at first, because I love the transformation. I love seeing someone's face, and they're like, they come and get their makeup done, they're like, and then they come out and they're like waving their hair around, they feel great about themselves. It's not necessarily about what they look like per se, if they're not the most stunning model of the world. As long as they feel good about themselves and they feel confident, like you can see the way someone acts when they have their makeup on. You can see the different way I act when I have my makeup on. It's just a huge transformation. That's why I got into beauty makeup. And around that time, I met Daniel. And some of you guys already know the story. We started flirting for a couple months, several months, and then we began like dating on the side, kind of. I would meet him before work and we would go to Panera and grab lunch. He didn't have a car at the time, so I would pick him up for work, or I would give him a ride home, and eventually became kind of involved. I would give him a ride home and then we hang out at his place for like an hour. And eventually, I guess my parents got suspicious of why I was coming home so late, even though my dad was never home. My sister had snitched on me. I could hear her on the phone one day saying, "Why is she home so late? It's 11:30. The store closed at 10. It takes me like 45 minutes to get home, so I was gone for like an hour. And eventually she told me enough where my dad met me out, parked his car across the street from my job one day, and saw me giving Daniel a ride home. He get in the car with me, and I gave him a kiss. I think, this is a day that is forever burned into my brain. But I've told this story enough now that I feel like I can get through it. He parked across the street and he was hiding in a ditch, trying to like spy on me to see why I was coming home late so much. The manager of the store was a piece of crap. He drove away immediately, before we even got in the car. So there was no one there except me, Daniel, and my dad hiding in a ditch. He popped out, pointed a gun at Daniel, told him to get out of the car. He pointed a gun at him, asked for his ID. Obviously Daniel, I don't think Daniel had his ID on him. So he eventually let him go and Daniel started walking home. Me, I was pulled and dragged. I don't know if I still have the photos of my arm. But I was pulled so hard that I had like yellow and blue bruises all around my arm from where he grabbed me. And he dragged me home. And I was threatened so much. So much. I was threatened if I breathed wrong, I'd get decked in the face. I was threatened that my life is over now. They were going to drag me to the doctor's office in the morning and get me tested for STDs. And without my consent, they were going to take me to the doctor and have me tested for STDs, HIV, AIDS, herpes, anything you could possibly test for, they were going to test me for. They said they knew a doctor who could do it without my consent, and I don't know if that's actually real or not. You can let me know. Yeah. Of course, they took my phone. They took everything out of my room. The only thing I had was a little iPod with, you could download the apps on it if you were attached to the Wi-Fi. Like the little, the ones. I told them, because I used it and I plugged it into the car that I was driving, that they left at my job, that it was in there because I've been using it for music. But instead I had it and I had a little app on it, and I told Daniel, I think they're going to kill me. Guaranteed they would have physically hurt me even more than they did. I do not doubt that at all. As a kid, you should not be told not to Google your father's name, because it's all lies. And I think that should have been a red flag from day one when I was told, when I was in middle school, going to little computer class, don't Google your dad's name. Don't Google his name. Don't Google anything to do with us. Don't Google anything to do with your parents. When your parents tell you that, you should know something's up. And I knew something was up, but I was like, okay, well, I won't. Okay, whatever. And so I know for a fact I would have been screwed if I didn't get out of there. I took my little purse. I took like 2 tank tops and a pair of shorts and a picture off my wall that Daniel drew me, and a little makeup case. So I had my purse, a little tiny makeup case, and a picture. And I just started walking down the road hoping that his friend would come get me. He told me his friend would get me, but of course when I left, there was no more Wi-Fi, so I couldn't check the messages. I was just hoping that they knew where to get me. And of course, Tyner is like 45 minutes from anywhere, so it was kind of hard for them to come find me. I'm glad they did. A police officer stopped me on the way to the church I was going to try to meet them there, because I felt like I would be safe there, I guess. It was like 15 miles down the road. It was like 120-degree weather. I was just carrying my little thing. A cop stopped me on the way there and took me the other half of the way because I was like gonna pass out dying. I hadn't drinking or eaten anything in like a day. And I probably weighed 90 pounds. Like, I was scrawny. But he dropped me off. The cop dropped me off. Asked me if I was okay. I said, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just waiting for someone. We're gonna have a sleepover. And that was that. I never looked back. My parents eventually found his phone number in my old phone that they took from me. Tried to threaten him into giving me up. Daniel knew I was unsafe. He could see it in my face. My parents were threatening to plant drugs on him in his apartment to get him arrested so they can come get me out of there. To plant cocaine or crack or whatever kind of drugs they wanted on him so that they could call the police and have him leave and go to jail for coming to take me. So Daniel and I went to his friend's house, which happened to be his ex-girlfriend, but I don't think that mattered at the time to me. And we went there for the night. Meanwhile, apparently my dad broke into the apartment that he lived in, because the door was broken when we got back. The lock was broken when we got back. Even though we still stayed there after that, we had a cop come to the house and make sure I was not listed as a missing person, which they told me I would be. We still stayed there. The lock was still broken. Like, we replaced the lock on it and everything, but the door was still wobbly. It was a very, very cheap apartment. It was about the space of someone's normal bedroom, but it was the entire apartment. Like, the kitchen had no counters. You had to pull the counter out of the wall from a slot, and then you couldn't get to the sink or open the fridge if you had the counter out. The bathroom had no counter. It was just like one of those floating sinks and a toilet, but the toilet was so close to the floating sink that if you put your head down like that, you would hit your head on the sink. It was very, very claustrophobic. The ceilings it was a frog, so it was over a garage, and they were like this, and you couldn't, like, you could stand up straight, but then if you walked a couple feet to the one side or the other, you would hit the ceiling. It was very, very small apartment. I guess it was fine for him, but for two people, it was not okay. Eventually moved out of there, and we moved to the place we are now, which is bigger. There's actually more than one room. It's not just one space. We have doors, which is great. And I haven't talked to my parents since. And I don't want to. I don't feel like it'd be safe. And it really sucks because I feel like even though I wasn't close with the rest of my family, they chose them over me. They don't know the full story of what happened, I guess. But when everybody's like, oh, Bridgette's not coming to Christmas, we miss you so much. Like, I wasn't invited to any of the family holidays anymore. I haven't been, because you chose to have them over there instead of me. And my grandparents aren't in the best of health. I visited them last year. But I guarantee you I will not be allowed to that funeral because my parents are there. And that kind of sucks. Or if something did happen, I don't know if I would try to go to the funeral. There's things that they were told to me as a kid that I just don't think they would do. They told me if I ever got a tattoo, they would cut it off of me and frame it on the wall. I don't know how skin works. I don't know if it actually stay preserved if you put it in a frame. Maybe it would because there's no air in it. But they were told me they would cut it off of me. They told me if I ever got a tattoo, you couldn't donate any organs. We're gonna cut it off of you. Because I really liked the tattoo shows. I thought that was a really cool way of expressing yourself. As a kid, that's one thing they always told me is like, if I ever got one, they would cut it off of me. So I fear if I go meet them, or I go to a funeral, or I go to anything, or they happen to run across me in like Walmart or something, I will suffer. I want to get a legal name change. Because I don't like being associated with my family. It sucks that I tried to be like them for so long and try to fit in and get their approval. Just knowing what they were gonna, just knowing now what they did to me. Ugh, I hate this. I hate this. Why is this so emotional? You're a fun channel, right? You're a fun makeup channel. I wish I could go back and change every time I try to get their approval. And I wish I could change everything that I ever said just to try to make them happy. And I wish I knew about them like what I knew now. I never thought they'd go to the extreme of doing this to me. But I wasn't their favorite child. All the attention, all the praise, all the love went to my sister. The younger one. The country one. And I don't blame her for that. I blame them. You can always say, oh, I don't have a favorite child. They did. This is done. Anyways, I still suffer from depression. I still get anxiety. I get anxiety about anything. It's not like major, like I don't go into a panic attack. I don't do that, but I do get very anxious very fast for no reason. I do kind of get mood swings. I get depressed all the time. Like, so if I ever seem in a video like I am trying to pressure myself to be happier than I actually am, you're probably right. But I feel like when I make these YouTube videos, I get to be the fun version of me. It's me. It's completely me. If you meet me in real life, that's what you'll get. Other than, like, me? Like, a weird shock. I'm very much the person that I am on the internet. But I'm also someone dealing with a lot sometimes. And I feel like I was over this whole family ordeal. I feel like I was past all this. I feel like I was past who I was before I left my family. Because I don't even, I mean, I say in a couple of videos that I know about my childhood, but I don't feel like I know that Bridgette. That's what I want. I don't feel like I have the same, like, even people who knew me back then and they see me now, or they talk to me now, they're like, you're not the same person. Even one of the guys I dated, he was just like, you're not the same person I dated. And, yeah, you're right. I'm not. I don't know. I feel like I'm a better version of myself now. I feel like I have much more. I think that's why I make so many opinionated videos, because, like, hey, I can have an opinion. Hey, I can be myself. I can say what's on my mind. I can do what I want. I can change my hair color a million times. I can go get Panic at the Disco tattoos. I can go do whatever I want. And I feel like I've been trying to take advantage of that, like, that self-expression. And I feel like because I feel like that some people might be going through the same things I was when I was a teenager and I was depressed, and I tried to find my outlet by loving things on the internet and loving certain things and finding my niche that I really wanted to, like, watch and praise. That's kind of why I do this. So when people tell me don't stop daily uploading, people don't have to turn on notifications so they don't watch all of them. Yeah, you're right. I have been considering stopping due to a lot of criticism about me, but I don't know. I don't think I know how to stop. I have a really strong work ethic, and if people comment to me and tell me that I made their day, who am I to stop posting? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so sorry. It was so emotional. But some people want to know why they get a weird sense about me, why they think I'm faking who I am, and I'm not. Making videos is the best part of my day. I'm me, but sometimes I push a little more forward, make it a little more interesting for you, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. Bye.